John Milton Hay was born in Salem, Indiana on October 8, 1838. He was the third son of Dr. Charles Hay and the former Helen Leonard. Charles Hay was born in Kentucky but hated all the slavery he saw around him. He then decided to move to the north in the early 1830s. He eventually practiced as a doctor in Salem, and his mother Helen moved down to Salem from Massachusetts to teach school. They married in 1831. Charles was not successful, so he eventually moved his family to Warsaw, Illinois in 1841. John attended the local schools, and in 1849, his uncle Milton had invited John to live at his home in Pittsfield, Pike County, and attend a well-regarded local school, the John D. Thomas Academy. He eventually went on to attend Brown University. He met Clara Stone, his wife, in 1873 and married her in 1874. They had 4 children. John started working for Lincoln on February 4, 1861 as his secretary. He had to constantly be available to Lincoln 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. He was a very hard worker and took no vacations. He often worked 20-hour days. Hay also served as an emissary, which led him to travel a lot. Once Lincoln was re-elected, Hay made it known that he desired a different job. In March 1865, he was appointed to the U.S. delegation in Paris and worked as the Secretary of Legation. He became Assistant Secretary of State in 1879, but soon resigned in March 31, 1881, and spent the next 7 months as acting editor of the Tribune. On September 30, 1898, Hay was sworn in as Secretary of State under President William McKinley. During McKinley's presidency, Hay would play important roles in working with China's open-door policy and the Boxer Rebellion, events that left their mark on the world. Although Hay does not have any significant quotes on how one should live their life, it is obvious that, looking at how he lived, he deeply encouraged the action of moving forward after tragedy. Hay was one who suffered many losses and defeats, yet still managed to accomplish a lot in his life. His primary contributions that really left his mark on people's lives were his works with Lincoln during the Civil War and on China's open-door policy, both of which really changed the world in many better ways. Hay's adversaries are pretty obvious. Assassins like John Wilkes Booth, who assassinated Lincoln, and other politicians that he worked with, were responsible for sabotaging his political career. But not only did they ruin his work life, Hay also happened to grow very close to many of these politicians, who sadly died in the line of duty to help make our country a better place. His major allies would also be the ones we mentioned before, like Lincoln, who was assassinated, William McKinley, who also was assassinated, and John George Nicolay, who was one of the secretaries that worked with him. Hay never fully recovered from the death of his son, Adalbert. By the time he died on June 23, 1905, people said he died a sad old man. As for the cause of his death, many said it was due to heart ailments and overwork. And as Edwin M. Stanton said when Lincoln died, so goes for John Hay. Now he belongs to the ages.